How well does my VVIX buy the dip strategy actually do compared to dollar cost averaging or lump sum investing? Let's take a look. Okay, if you watch my previous video, I've been utilizing a buy the dip strategy from something called the VVIX. Okay, essentially, when volatility is high, when there's a pop, I wait for things to calm down. I go in and I buy a broad market index. I've been doing this for over a decade. And I wanted to share with you because I find it's pretty good for my type of income structure, which is lumpy, I suppose is the best way I could say it. I didn't ever had a fixed salary. I was getting checks like this. So for me, it was always uncomfortable just to go, all right, throwing it all in. Let's go. I like to wait for things on sale. So let's take a look at the results. And I would encourage you to watch the other video first, so that you're not totally blindsided here. But a few variables to be aware of. I'm not considering taxes during this assessment. Okay. I'm not considering DRIP, dividend reinvestment. Okay. And I'm not considering inflation. And what I mean by that is I'm just looking at a gross salary, and over a 17-year period, I'm not increasing it by anything, which totally obviously isn't completely realistic, hopefully. But nevertheless, just to keep it simple, I kept all those things static. I'm looking at an individual who makes 200 grand a year. 60 of the 200, or $5,000 a month, is their base. Okay, they're making a base $5,000 a month. Semi-annually, they get paid 70 grand and 70 grand, a total of $140,000 in a lump sum. Now, this could fluctuate for some people realistically. It did certainly for me. But I wanted to keep it static here for this example. Their investment strategy will be to take 20%, okay, of their gross every month and every bonus payout. So that would equate to every month they're buying a broad-based index, which for this example, I'm using VTI, and they're buying $1,000 worth every month, no matter the price. Then every January and July, they're going in and buying that bonus payout. Okay, 20% of it, $14,000 every 6 months. Okay, that's the dollar cost average lump sum investing investment strategy. For the buy the dip, the way I did it for this example is they're just hoarding that cash. They get paid every month. They don't do anything until the signal that I define in the other video comes into fruition. And similarly, they're hoarding those bonus payouts. Okay, so looking at the spreadsheet here for a moment, or some of the details, you can see they get paid the $1,000. They're going in, they're buying VTI. This is going back from 2007. They buy 14.38 shares. Okay, a month later, they're doing it again with their next 1,000, and so on until their bonus payout in July. They now put in 14,000 plus the 1,000, so 15,000, and they're buying about 13 shares for the dollar cost average and about 183 for the lump sum. Okay, for the buy the dip, they're just waiting. They're not doing anything. Waiting, which I guess is another variable that we didn't consider. If there's an alternative, safe, liquid use of this funds in the meantime, then they would be doing that. And they get the signal finally in August. And this is a good example of what I was getting in the other video to show some real numbers here. August of 2007, we finally close on VVIX above 110. And the next week, we are still elevated, but we've come down. Time to go in. Okay. And you can see here that, basically they avoided, for example, this example, they got paid out that 15 grand here, right? A couple weeks before, or maybe about a month and a half before, they would have been buying at 76. Today they're buying at 73. So about a 4 to 5% discount to the market, if you will, in this example. So I do this all the way through July of 2024. Okay, to show there's a few signals here and there. Keep in mind, this is pre-August 2024 results. August and September, at least so far in September, have proven a pop of volatility in the markets. Okay, so let's take a look at the final results of this two scenario hypothetical portfolio. Dollar cost average, total shares purchased, about 2,200. From the lump sum, so the 14 grand every 6 months, about 5,059 shares. Total shares purchased, going in blind, 72.59. Average price of VTI during that time period, $96.43. They put in 700 grand as their cost basis. Their portfolio value at the end of or mid-July, about 1.967 million. They had 245 buy signals. Okay. Now let's take a look at the buy the dip. How did it fare compared to the dollar cost average and lump sum investing? First of all, interestingly enough, they have less shares. And the reason being for that, you can see here 72.59, 68.86. The reason being is during 2024, there hasn't been a clear signal for the buy the dip. They just been sitting on the sidelines, accumulating cash, waiting and waiting and waiting. The average price does beat the DCA and lump sum strategy. Cost basis is lower, but they're sitting on cash. So when you add in those two, here's a portfolio value: 1.923 million, 1.967 million. So by the dip is losing right now by 44,000. Okay, there was 25 signals to buy. That's about, during that period, 1.5 to 2 signals a year. Okay, to kind of give you an idea of how often this happens. Now, for this, again, I'm not considering drip, which I think would drip, just the fact that we own more shares with this one, it's probably even better. Okay. So the science, the data is showing, at least in this example, although we're using some fixed variables, such as the bonus is fixed, it still isn't as good as just going in. And there's some data behind this in other videos I've seen and everything, that it isn't as good. But let's talk about the reality for a moment. Okay. The reality is, if you get paid a big check, and some of you maybe, I know individuals who sold some of their businesses or all their business and they get a big check and it's hard to stomach just throwing it in the market, and knowing there could be a 10, 15, 20, 25% correction pending. Years of work and you just see it 25% evaporate. And that's really, I chat GPT the negatives of lump sum investing. That's really the biggest variable here. So my question for you, if you think this is a worthy strategy, is even though it's not as good, is it maybe worth it? Okay. And the idea here, again, that I've said from the beginning is I personally had lumpy income and I just never felt great about just going all in. Okay. I like the idea of buying things on sale. And I personally was on a hunt for a very black and white, okay, just do this. Because if you watch my other video, as you know, when calamity is in the streets, the financial streets, it feels scary to buy even then. The prices maybe make sense, but to get over the emotion of, do I go in and buy? This signal helps that. It helps you keep it clear. Yes, you do go in and buy. All right. Well, I hope this is helpful. I hope it's interesting. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, your comments, any rebuttals. I would gladly entertain those. But hopefully it's helpful, and I look forward to the next one. Have a great day. Thanks.